Dolly Parton, Empath, Narcissist, or Something Else, Part 2. Hello, I'm H.G. Tudor. As we examine the life of Dolly Parton, we start with her childhood. She was born into poverty in a one-room cabin in Sevier County, Tennessee. Poverty could be a lack of control environment, or alternatively, an appreciation of such an environment as being poor could cause her to harness emotional empathy so that she sees the plight of others in a similar situation to the one that she experienced, that she understands it in a meaningful way. She was the fourth of 12 children. Having such a large family might denote that there was little time to be given to her, and therefore might it also be that alongside this poverty she found herself neglected emotionally by her parents? Or might it have been, notwithstanding the number of children, a very homely and supportive home environment? Growing up in the Smoky Mountains, her family faced financial hardship, with her father working as a sharecropper and later a tobacco farmer. Despite these challenges, music was a constant in the Parton household. And Dolly began performing as a child. As mentioned, the family lived in a one-room cabin in Locust Ridge, a remote area near the Great Smoky Mountains. Her siblings, Willadine, David, Coy Denver, Bobby Lee, Stella, Cassie, Randall, Larry, Estelle, Frida, Floyd, and Rachel created a crowdy, lively household where resources were scarce, but love and storytelling were apparently abundant. Dolly often described her family as poor in material wealth, but rich in spirit, a sentiment reflected in her song Coat of Many Colours, which recounts her mother sewing a coat from rags to keep her warm. Avie Lee, Dolly's mother, was a profound influence. A singer and guitarist, Avie introduced Dolly to music through gospel hymns and folk ballads, often singing while doing chores. Her storytelling, rooted in Appalachian traditions, sparked Dolly's imagination and songwriting instincts. Avie's warmth and resourcefulness, evident in her ability to feed and clothe 12 children on meagre means, instilled in Dolly a sense of gratitude and ingenuity. Robert Lee, Dolly's father, was a hard-working but illiterate tobacco farmer and sharecropper. His struggles with reading inspired Dolly's later philanthropy, particularly the Imagination Library, which promotes childhood literacy. Although stern, Robert supported Dolly's dreams, even if he didn't fully understand her ambitions, and his work ethic left a lasting impression. The Parton family's poverty was a defining feature of Dolly's childhood. Living in a one-room cabin without electricity or running water, the family relied on subsistence farming and occasional odd jobs. Dolly has recounted bathing in a creek, using corn cobs as toys, and sharing beds with multiple siblings. Meals were simple, often consisting of cornbread, beans, or whatever Avie could stretch from limited resources. In her autobiography, Dolly, My Life and Other Unfinished Business, from 1994, she describes moments of hunger, but emphasizes her family's ability to find joy despite scarcity. The rural setting of Locust Ridge meant isolation from modern amenities and opportunities. The nearest town, Sevierville, was a significant journey, and the family rarely ventured far. Robert's work as a sharecropper meant long hours for little pay, and the family often faced financial uncertainty, especially during lean harvests. Dolly's awareness of her family's struggles fueled her ambition to escape poverty through music, a goal she pursued with relentless determination. It's clear that this was a very difficult family background with regard to the lack of money and the problems that all flowed from there. This could well be viewed as a lack of control environment. And is it the case that this generated narcissism in Dolly Parton, which in turn caused her to be propelled to pursue a goal to escape poverty? Or simply that she recognized remaining poor was not an option, and therefore she was inspired by her father's hard-working status to work hard herself to escape it? Her song, In the Good Old Days When Times Were Bad, captures the duality, acknowledging hardship while cherishing the love that sustained them. Despite these challenges, Dolly's childhood wasn't defined solely by deprivation. The Smoky Mountains' natural beauty, lush forests, creeks and rolling hills provided a playground for her imagination. She often spoke of wandering the woods, dreaming up stories and songs, which became an early outlet for her creativity. Might this connection to nature, which has clearly influenced her, also be formative with regard to understanding what she is? Music was the heartbeat of Dolly Parton's childhood. From a young age, she absorbed the sounds of Appalachian folk, gospel and country music. Her mother's singing, accompanied by a homemade guitar, introduced Dolly to melodies and harmonies. The family attended the House of Prayer, a small Pentecostal church where gospel music and spirited preaching left a lasting mark. Dolly began singing in church, her high, clear voice standing out even as a child. By age 6, she was performing hymns with confidence, earning praise from the congregation. Naturally, this exhibits some showmanship, which is a narcissistic trait. But was this being done in a particularly showy way, or just for the enjoyment of creating music? Her uncle, Bill Owens, a musician himself, recognised Dolly's talent early and became a key mentor. He gave her a guitar at age 8 and she quickly learned to play, writing her first song, Little Tiny Tasseltop, about a corncob doll. Bill took her to perform at local venues, including radio stations in Knoxville. At age 10, Dolly debuted on Cass Walker's Farm and Home Hour, a regional radio and TV show, where her precocious charm and voice won over audiences. These early performances were pivotal, giving her a taste of the stage and fueling her ambition. Perhaps this early exposure was also part of a lack of control environment, whereby adults were dictating how she ought to perform, and that she relished this performance, perhaps because she was already enjoying a taste for fuel. By 13, Dolly performed at the Grand Ole Opry, a milestone that introduced her to country music's biggest stage. Meeting Johnny Cash, who encouraged her to follow her dreams, was a turning point. These experiences, though modest, gave Dolly a sense of possibility beyond the confines of Locust Ridge. Her child performance also taught her showmanship, how to connect with audiences through humour, sincerity, and her distinctive voice. Was this an early ability to manipulate? Or was this a consequence of genuine emotional empathy? Dolly's education was limited by her circumstances, but significant in shaping her worldview. She attended a one-room schoolhouse in Locust Ridge, where basic reading, writing, and arithmetic were taught. Despite her father's illiteracy, Dolly excelled in school, particularly in storytelling and creative writing. Her teachers noted her intelligence and charisma, although she was often teased for her poverty. Worn clothes and lack of shoes were constant reminders of her family's struggle. The Coat of Many Colours story, where classmates mocked her homemade coat, reflects the humiliation she faced, but also her pride in her mother's love. Might this mockery from the school children have created a lack of control environment also? Or might it have created some form of resilience for Dolly Parton? School was a mixed experience for Dolly. While she loved learning, the isolation of rural life and the demands of helping at home limited her academic opportunities. She graduated from Sevier County High School in 1964, the first in her family to do so, a moment of pride for her parents. Yet Dolly's true education came from her environment, her mother's stories, the church's spiritual lessons, and the music that spoke to her. Her ambition to escape poverty and achieve stardom was evident early. She often spoke of dreaming big, even as a child, envisaging a life beyond the mountains. The Appalachian culture of Sevier County profoundly shaped Dolly's identity. The region's storytelling tradition, rooted in Scots Irish heritage, influenced her songwriting, which often blends humour, heartache and vivid imagery. The Pentecostal church instilled a deep spirituality, evident in songs like There, and her lifelong faith, which she credits for her optimism. The Smoky Mountains themselves were a character in her childhood, inspiring a sense of wonder and connection to nature that permeates her music. Gender roles in rural Tennessee also influenced Dolly. Women were expected to marry young and focus on family, yet Dolly's ambition set her apart. Her mother's strength and her own determination to defy expectations fueled her drive to succeed in a male-dominated industry. The community's tight-knit nature gave her a sense of belonging, but also a desire to prove herself on a larger stage. Dolly Parton's childhood was a crucible of hardship, love, and creativity. The poverty she endured instilled a work ethic and also may have generated empathy to define her later philanthropy, particularly her commitment to literacy and disaster relief. Her family's musical heritage and early performances gave her the tools to become a prolific songwriter and performer. Were those tools harnessed by narcissism as a means to pursue the prime aims? Was it the case that the Smoky Mountains' beauty and isolation fueled her imagination, built upon the presence of genuine emotional empathy, a connection to nature? Well, it's certain that she came from a lack of control environment, but there doesn't appear to be evidence, at least from what we've unearthed, of either of her parents being a narcissist. But this doesn't mean she would necessarily escape, for narcissism could have been present further back in the lineage, and therefore the genetic predisposition passed down to her. Alternatively, it might be seen that particularly the behaviour of her mother instilled genuine empathic traits in Dolly Parton, something which has manifested through her resilience and desire to better herself. Elements to give us some indication of what Dolly Parton might be, as we move on in the next part to consider her relationship with her parents and her siblings. I'm H.G. Tudor. Thank you for listening.